सभी को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं सुनीता चावड़ा। आज इस वीडियो में सामाजिक संरचना के बारे में अध्ययन करेंगे। सामाजिक संरचना, सोशल स्ट्रक्चर। Again, we will start with its introduction, meaning and definition, the analogy of a house, of a village, and of a neighborhood, and then the analogy of the organism. Lastly, we define social structure. First of all, I would like to give a brief introduction of social structure. It is the organized set of social institutions and patterns of institutionalized relationships that together compose society. It is both a product of social interaction and directly determines it. However, they are not immediately visible to the untrained observer, but they are always present and affect all dimensions of human society. It is also referred as a social system, that is, a system of social relationship or relations. It does not concern itself with people as individuals forming the society or their social organizations, neither does it study who are the people, who are the organization forming it, or what is the ultimate goal of their relations. It deals rather with the very structure of their relations, how are they organized in a pattern of relationship. Broadly, it is known as social system, can be viewed as a structure composed of the economic system, law system, political system, cultural system, and so on. Meaning of social structure. The term structure was first applied to construction. Later, it was used in the scientific field of biology and then sociology, anthropology, and in other social sciences with the analogy of a house or a village or a neighborhood. To understand the meaning of social structure, सामाजिक संरचना का अर्थ समझने के लिए हम एक मकान के, एक गांव के या पड़ोस के या एक सावयव के सादृश्य हम इसे समझ सकते हैं। जिस प्रकार एक मकान विभिन्न कमरों से बनता है और एक विलेज विभिन्न मकानों से मिलकर बनता है, और इसी प्रकार एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एक ऑर्गेनिज्म, सावयव विभिन्न शारीरिक अंगों से मिलकर बनता है, उसी प्रकार सामाजिक संरचना भी विभिन्न भागों से मिलकर बनती है। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्क्राइब द एनोलॉजी ऑफ अ हाउस. A house belongs into rooms, with each room set apart of conducting a particular set of activities. For instance, one room may be used for cooking foods, keeping raw ingredients, utensils for cooking, and it may be called the kitchen. In the same manner, the other rooms of the house may be some sort of a specialization and name like worship, bedroom, study room, and so on, store, guest room, entrance, etc. All indicate the aim for which a particular portion of the house is marked. Due to shortage of land, maybe these rooms may not be available separately, but different corners within a room may be associated with different tasks and activities. Each room has its own boundary, its distinctiveness, which separates it from other rooms. But it is not an isolated entity. All rooms of a house are interconnected through passages, corridors, and etc. Now we move on The analogy of village. The analogy of village or a neighborhood. It may be described as a collection of houses where each village or neighborhood maintains its wholeness. At the same time, it is a part of the larger units. Each of them maintains its boundary, its identity, and also have several connections with other villages or neighborhoods like the passages, always, corridors. A society may be imagined as consisted part like a house or a village or a neighborhood, but one should also keep in mind the difference between a society and a house, as analogy is not homology. Now, the analogy of organism. Different scholars have adopted different analogies to formulate the idea of society and social structure. Herbert Spencer is one of the most first ones to use the analogy of building, but in sociology, the analogy of the organism is the most frequently used analogy to understand the idea of society. Society is like an organism. Spencer also believed that this analogy will be greatly valid if we are able to show not only that society is like an organism but also that organism is like society. Organism analogy was the basic to the understanding and explaining the concept of social structure. Radcliffe Brown, Evans Pritchard, Levi Strauss, and others also contributing to understand it. Now we can compare the analogy of the organism and the analogy of society. The principal unit of an organism is a cell, which combines with other of its kind to form a tissue. An aggregate of tissues is an organ, and an aggregate of organs is an organism. Similarly, the basic unit of society is a socialized individual. A collection of individuals is a group, and several of them combine together and form a community, and a collection of communities is called society. Thus, we can say an organism can be broken down. An organism can be broken down into organs, an organ into tissues, and a tissue into cells. In the same manner, a society can be broken down into communities, which in turn can be divided into groups and groups into individuals. Now, through the analogy, we can understand the meaning of social structure. Now, we switch on definitions. According to Britannica in sociology, social structure is the distinctive, stable arrangement of institutions whereby human beings in a society interact and live together. It is often treated with the concept of social change, which deals with the forces that change the social structure and the organization of society. According to New World Encyclopedia, social structure refers to the pattern of social relationship in a society. It regulates the interactions among members of the society, providing guidelines within the cultural norms for achieving the goals defined by cultural values. Generally, it maintains societal stability, but when the social structure and societal values become unequal, the structure must embrace social change to allow the society to survive and continue healthy development. There are a variety of sociological approaches for understanding the relationship between structure and change that is necessary for development of a peaceful society. Now, the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary gives three meanings of the term structure. First one, the way in which something is organized, built, or put together, like the structure of the human body. Second, a particular system, pattern, procedure, or institute, like class structure, salary structure. And the third and the last one, a thing made up of several parts put together in a particular way, like a single story structure. When a sociologist speaks about a structure, he or she has all the three meanings in his or her mind. A structure means an interconnectedness of parts, thus, parts of a society are not isolated entities but a set of relationships to which the term structure may be used. Everything has a structure. Without it, the entity won't be able to carry out any task or work. When its structure breaks down or is in endangered, it stops working, becomes slow, and affecting the activities of the other systems because they all are interconnected. A structure refers to the way in which the parts of an entity are interconnected so that the entity emerges as an integrated whole, which for the purpose of analysis can be broken down into individual parts. Though there is no any dispute exists in sociology with respect to the idea that structure means an interconnectedness of parts, but it exists as to the identity of these parts, whether these parts are individuals or groups or roles or institutions or messages or so on. इस प्रकार हमने देखा कि सामाजिक संरचना, यदि हम सामान्य भाषा में कहें तो विभिन्न भाग का संपूर्ण इकाई को बनाए रखने का प्रकार्यात्मक योगदान है। यदि इनमें से कोई भी भाग अपना प्रकार्य सुचारू रूप से न करे तो संपूर्ण व्यवस्था इससे प्रभावित होगी। या तो वो संपूर्ण व्यवस्था अपना कार्य करना बंद कर देगी, या उसकी गति धीमी हो जाएगी, या वो पूर्ण रूप से ही कोलैप्स हो जाएगा। इस प्रकार हम देख सकते हैं कि जिस प्रकार मकान विभिन्न बिल्डिंग मटेरियल्स से बनता है, मानव शरीर, ह्यूमन बॉडी, ऑर्गेनिज्म शरीर के विभिन्न भागों से बनते हैं, उसी प्रकार समाज की संरचना या सामाजिक संरचना भी विभिन्न भागों से बनती है और प्रत्येक भाग का एक निश्चित और निर्धारित स्थान होता है, प्रकार्य होता है। उनको सुचारू रूप से करके ही संरचना सुचारू रूप से चल सकती है या वो बनी रह सकती है। अतः हमने इस वीडियो में देखा कि सामाजिक संरचना का अर्थ क्या है और वो किस प्रकार उसे हम एक मकान के, एक पड़ोस के या फिर एक गांव के या एक सावयव के समान देखकर उसे समझ सकते हैं। थैंक यू। नेक्स्ट वीडियो में हम इसका कंसेप्चुअल डेवलपमेंट करेंगे और इससे संबंधित विभिन्न सिद्धांत करेंगे। धन्यवाद।